Hey, this is Taze, the vampire authoress, at the top of the recording. Just to say, trigger warnings are in the description, and if I can get it to work, closed captions will be provided. Also, while I don't think anything is directly spoiled, vague spoiler warnings for up to Season 3 of the Magnus Archives. I hope you enjoy. Alright, here we go then. Just so you know, I never got further than the first few episodes of TMA. I don't know how giving a statement is going to help me with what happened, with what's still happening, and I don't know. I just want the feeling of breath on the back of my neck to go away. My friend Nemo didn't say how I hadn't heard from them in years, but she said it might help, and they promised me a walk across the moors, like old times if I did it. A whole day alone together. God, I need that. Especially since she dropped off the map after this happened. He was the only one I could talk to who believed me. I've missed them. If this is a trick... Statement of Emma Downs regarding fox hunting. Statement given the 9th of July 2025. For my own safety, this is audio only. My friend Nemo has agreed to upload this from their computer. This is also not my real name. First names only are given for my friends, and I'm not giving place names. I don't need more people trying to find me. I hope you understand. I've felt hunted since I was young. I now know I had no idea what that felt like. I could go into detail about the bullying, but what it boils down to is this. When and where I grew up, if you were weird, but masked enough that adults liked you, you received no help, but plenty of negative peer attention. I did get a diagnosis in the end, but mostly I just survived and wished that everyone would leave me the hell alone. Finally, I got to university. And I was okay. I was actually okay. I made friends. I met Nemo. We graduated in 2017, and I genuinely had never been happier. I got a job, met up with friends who'd stuck around, started writing letters to those who hadn't. I got a bit obsessed with it, to be honest. I bought a proper writing set. Paper, envelopes, wax seals, the lot. It came with a free letter opener that I hardly ever used, save for boxes. It was pretty sharp. It was for this reason that I was at the post office, picking up stamps, when I heard a voice. It was Katie, one of my old society friends I still met up with, and occasionally attended the wild house parties she's known for. She'd seen me walking in and wanted to invite me to her latest shindig that weekend. I hesitated, but I didn't have anything else on, so I agreed. I really wish I hadn't. The theme was Carnival of the Animals. I'm a redhead, and the fox comparisons are as frequent as they are uninspired. but it made deciding on my costume a cakewalk. I got a onesie online, dug some black gloves and shoes out of my wardrobe. I even bleached the tip of my ponytail. I I walked to the party with several bottles in my pockets. My rental was further away than I'd like, but paying for a taxi was not in my budget, so I was kinda late. Katie squealed when she saw me arriving, declaring me so cute and ushering me into the house. People already flowed through the rooms like a stream, most of whom I knew, lots of them in cheap and cheerful outfits, so maybe that's why I was surprised when Katie and I passed by someone I'd never met before. He looked out of place in the sea of shoestring budget costumes. He wore a crisp white shirt, a black riding jacket and a matching tie, black jodhpurs and tall boots. Even a miniature riding crop stuck out of his pocket. A vintage-looking horse mask hung around his neck. I couldn't hear what he said as I passed, but his voice was low, aristocratic and smooth, almost a growl. His group of friends all wore half-faced dog masks and chains with dog tags on. Not like the army, like actual dog tags, but were otherwise in white t-shirts and black jeans. I wondered how many people he'd brought. It looked like 8, maybe 9. I didn't recognize any of them. As I watched, one of them ran her tongue across her teeth. I looked away, uncomfortable, and tried to find someone to catch up with. Later, I think it was about 10 o'clock, I had a pleasant buzz and had pretty much forgotten the weird group. I was heading over to the drinks table when I bumped into the horsehead mask guy. He'd lost his tie and jacket, though his mask was on now, the long snout obscuring his mouth. His eyes reflected the light oddly, like red eye, but greenish and not a photo. He must have been a sheet or two to the wind himself. He tweaked the ear of my onesie and told me it was very fetching. Then, after a pause, he said, "A pity they banned fox hunting," and winked one of his strange eyes. I took a dislike to this guy and his weird flirting. I told him I thought it was a barbaric practice. He paused and looked me up and down, drew in a deep, long breath, and told me maybe if I tried it, I'd think differently. He knew someone who could have it arranged if I wanted. With him as chaperone, of course. Who the hell did this guy think he was? I was so angry at this wannabe tough Casanova that I didn't even think about what I'd said until way later. I said I'd rather die, leave me alone. I could feel bile rising in the back of my throat as I looked at him, hate radiating from me. He watched for a moment and retreated, but I still felt uneasy. A lifetime of looking over my shoulder just flooded back. I clocked my exits and forewent the drink. I looked back at the horsehead guy. His attention was thankfully elsewhere, back chatting with his friends. I couldn't get away fast enough. I told myself off. He'd left me alone. I had no reason to believe anything untoward was going on. Just an entitled person with the money to do horrible things, being dogshit at flirting. Except that as I mingled, the dog masks kept bumping into me. Somehow they always seemed to catch me off guard, and I only managed to had glimpses of them, flashes of teeth, of the same weird reflective eyes, of some of their tags. Beagle, setter, foxhound. Nicknames? Or had they just done it for the costumes? By the seventh time, I was angry. I just wanted to have a good night. I found Katie in the kitchen. This had to stop. I asked who the group of dogs were, and the horse. I told her they needed to be kicked out. Katie was silly with alcohol, hugged me, and told me to forget it and have fun. I persisted, though, following her back into the lounge. I asked again. She sighed, frustrated. I dunno. I didn't invite them. It was like a silent whistle had gone off. All of the dog-masked people turned to me slowly. There were more than I'd counted earlier. 10, 15, more? Stalking their way through the revelers like they weren't there. My stomach dropped. No one else seemed to notice them, not even Katie. I turned tail and was out of that house quicker than I thought possible. I ran home. I'm not fast, but I didn't stop for even a ragged breath. My feet pounded on the tarmac and my blood buzzed electric with fear. I saw shadows and pairs of green glints down side streets and would change my course, but every time I glanced behind me, there was no one there. All the while I was hunted through that concrete landscape, I felt eyes on me and hot animal breath on my neck. I was almost sure my reckless change of direction had sent me in a circle, and I was scared of charging directly into a dead end, but I kept going. I just kept going. I nearly cried with relief when I recognized my street. I didn't stop until I'd locked the front door behind me. I sank to the floor with my back to the outside world, unable to stop trembling. I sat there for what could have been minutes, or could have been hours. I heard them coming. It would have been impossible not to. I was frozen to the floor, listening to the crescendo of whooping and yelling outside as it surrounded my home. And then the sound of something shattering. I don't know why I walked towards the noise, legs shaking. I suppose I figured that even if I hid, they'd find me, but I honestly don't know if I was thinking at all. He was there. He was in my home, in my living room, dismounting from being boosted through the broken window. He gestured to his hounds and they ran off, baying. The horse mask was gone. He was not a person. I mean, he was, but he wasn't human. Not fully, I don't think. No human eyes look like his did. No human hand has claws like that. No human face has that many teeth. I turned to run again, but he caught my arm. His hand felt rough and calloused, his claws digging painfully into me. I reached for something, anything to protect myself. My hand found the left opener, still out from opening the onesie box. I gripped it and swung at him. It felt like the most futile thing in the world, but I did it anyway. Again and again as he pulled me closer. I don't know how I did it, but my letter opener found his neck, deep enough that blood began to flow quickly down his shirt, staining the white crimson. He let go, drawing his hands back to try to staunch the bleeding. Sobbing with fear, I ran. I managed to reach the back door when he made a noise of animal pain and human anger and lunged. But Either the shock or the sudden change in blood pressure made him stumble. He fell, rolling onto his back, breathing heavily. He watched me fumbling with the lock with an almost amused expression, and my insides turned to ice as the realization hit me. He would never stop until I was dead. Then he would find someone else. This would never end. I gripped the letter opener in my hand and turned to him. He watched, confusion growing on a face that was just so wrong. He swiped at me, catching my leg. I barely noticed. I knelt by his chest and stabbed over and over until it was just a mess of wounds and blood. I couldn't register the sounds he was making over the pulse in my ears. I don't know when he died or which one finished him off. I should be grateful that he was human enough to die. But I don't think I registered he was dead. Not until I was standing back in my living room over the drying mess. No corpse, only drag marks. I don't know what I did with the body. I don't know how I wasn't seen. Someone should have reported the noise that happened that night. The floor was an easy clean, but the onesie had to go. I know you're not meant to burn plastic fibres, but I didn't know how the hell else to get rid of it. I couldn't go to the police. I couldn't tell my family, my friends. I told Nemo, but then they disappeared off the face of the earth, and I had no one who would believe me about his awful face. Afterwards, I wanted to believe that his pack of hounds had collapsed. That the eyes that locked on mine in crowds and shone like an animal's in the half-light were coincidence. Like the people looking up into my old place of work on the other end of the train, passing by my house. Faces always obscured or too far away. I couldn't delude myself, though. It wasn't as coordinated, but the pursuit isn't stopping. It got too much very fast. I moved constantly, even during the pandemic, but I could never get further than the city limits. Things always fell through when I tried. It's like his blood had stained me somehow. Like there's a smell I can't wash out. I ended up near our old uni. I can't afford to move again yet. I only leave my house if there's no one else walking on my street. I have a minimal contact job working from home now. I don't have people over, just in case. I've tried to keep in touch with long distance friends using every messaging service they tell me to use, and most of the time it just makes me stressed. Honestly, Nemo was lucky to get through to me. And I don't receive letters because of how often I've moved. And that almost hurts the most. I don't want to live like this. If I'm being very honest with myself, I don't need to. Ever since I killed him, there's been a feeling in me, a pounding in my head that says I need to get them before they get me. To become the hunter. Maybe it is safe. Maybe I'm paranoid over nothing. Maybe the hounds were just bored, fucked up kids who grew into bored, fucked up adults, and the people who I've come to recognize that pass my house are just neighbors I can't bring myself to say hello to, in case they also have look that look that says that unless I make that choice, I am prey that I will always need to run. Statement ends. Right. That's it. I think. I hope this works. Whatever this is meant to do.